There's a lot of people too that have Fanduel as their primary site and not DraftKings, right? There's a lot of guys that can't play DK, can maybe play Fanduel, or maybe just straight out just prefer Fanduel. And Fanduel, although it's not the 100Ks, 200Ks, the $1 million contest like there are on DraftKings, you still have some pretty decent sized stuff. But the strategy is somewhat different. So today, to address those couple guys that had that question, I'd love to talk about maybe some Fanduel, how the strategies differ. Maybe if we can get Brandon, Pat, Wise Guy, all these guys to maybe dominate Fanduel too, maybe the rest of us can just tilt in harmony, right? Let's just all get together and just tilt together. How about that, dude? Let them win all the money, we tilt together. And Fanduel would be the finishing piece right there. That would be the ending piece. Just make it click. Boom. That way, everywhere we look, there they are again. There they are again. It's the same guys winning. Whatever, why not? You know? Fanduel, you have to reserve a decent contest 8 hours in advance and it takes 12 hours to pay out. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I know the way scoring works and how they account for scoring, depending on the site, is different. So we're going to kind of forego all of that right now. But I wanted to look specifically at a couple Fanduel slates, right? We'll look at some high stakes stuff. We'll look at the guys you want, but look at the bigger contests in Fanduel. Competition is softer on Fanduel, Lippy says. Well, here's my opinion. It's different, right? You can't stack 5 guys. There actually isn't even, 7 players you can put in there. It's only 6, I believe. So 4 twos is probably the most, like, I don't know. It's all different, right? So I don't play Fanduel. Even when normal sports is going on, I just don't play Fanduel. But some of the same guys are up here on Fanduel as well, right? So if we were to go to a random Fanduel contest, and I brought up the squeeze on, I believe this is yesterday, the 17th, I brought the squeeze in Fanduel. I have it here in front of me. I think you don't really reinvent the wheel, right? You don't really reinvent the wheel. FJ Bourne, I think this is B Creator, BK, I don't know how you pronounce this, it's B Creator, right? All these guys kind of do the same thing, if you will, right? Whether it's a 4-2 or a 3-3, most of the top lineups will have something similar, right? 1-2-3-4, 1-2 with a pitcher. For me, I don't think you reinvent the wheel. So I think the question specifically was, Manny, what is the optimal strategy for Fanduel? And if you really think about it, if you really hone in on what you even can do on this site, outside of the pitcher, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. Can't play a 7th, 8th, 9th, can't do nothing. Couple infielders, couple outfielders, and utilities. That's all you can do. By default, a 4-2 is the most you can do. If you wanted to do 3-3, you can as well too, right? Outside of that, what else can you do? And this might be, to be honest, this might be a little bit more friendlier to KBO in my opinion, right? Because before that, we had talked about how, okay, well, since there's only 5 games on DraftKings, even if we could stack 5, stacking 5 will win. Like, I think it won yesterday. But is there more opportunity for 4s and 3s to be profitable? Yeah, for sure. And can they have winning scores? Yeah, 100%. Because there's way less games and way less teams. On Fanduel, where you can't even stack 5, can you just say, I mean, this is almost perfect, just half your lineups 4-2s, the other half 3-3s, and call it a day? I think so. If we look at someone like the B Creator guy, right? This is his lineup on the right side. Aside from this, had 3, 2, 1. It gives you the option to be a little bit more creative, because if it were only 4-2s and only 3-3s, we would all be running the same lineups almost, right? Can you get creative with this? Sure. You know where I think this comes into play is if you're playing large field tournaments, and in this case, like the $4 or whatever, that'll have a few thousand entries. You'll say, all right, let me try with 3-2-1 or 3-3s or 3-1-1-1. I don't know, you know? You get creative that way. But in everything else, I think 4-2s is fine, right? 4-2s or 3-3s, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And similar to some of our DraftKings stuff that we've had in the past, in our DraftKings strategy, where we wanted to have some 5s, some 4s, and some 3s, especially if we're playing large field tournaments, kind of, you know, hedgy type. Here, you only have to do 2 types, so maybe half and half, and I think you're good to go, right? Make sure you play every team almost, which when you're playing half one style and half another style, you can do that. I don't think it's too hard. I don't think it's difficult. I'm gonna go to one of the higher stakes Fanduel ones and say, what if, back on lineup study by the way, what if I see what the winning stacks look like? So I'm looking at this column here. 3-2 takes it down. 4-0. That's also a pretty good idea. Never really thought of that one. 4-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 4 naked, 4 naked. There's not much you can do, right? There's not much you can do. I wouldn't go for the 2-2 you know, 2-2s, even the 3-2s, I think it's very hit or miss. But 4 naked, 4 2s, fantastic. And then 3 3s, I think are also good. You see 3 3s down here. The thing with FanDuel is I think people, and as you go higher in stakes, right? I think you'll see some guys just get too cute. I think FanDuel might be the site where you can get too cute because there really isn't much you can do. I think just straight up 4s, 4 2s, 3 3s. That's it. I think getting too cute maybe works in like some really, really large field tournaments, extremely large field tournaments, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 entries. But outside of that, you don't have to go all too crazy. You want to go a step further and say you can stick to 4 2s and 3 3s if you go to the lower owned teams. I read something from someone had tweeted Osimo this weekend. The question was something like, do you just play every team and stack 5s or whatever? And although he might stack 5s and 4s or whatever the answer was, the main part was he rather stack teams that are lower owned than what they should be and stack around half of the teams on the slate, because roughly half the teams on the slate are usually under what they should be. And when those guys hit, he does very well. When chalk hits, he rather just forego those slates, which is interesting, right? If you were to take it on FanDuel, I think that might be what you need to do as well too, right? How about we get either 4 naked or 4 2s? By the way, someone had asked, because when we clip this, it goes on YouTube. Someone had asked, what is 4 2s? What is 4 naked? What is 5 2s? What is 5 3s? All right, when you stack 4 players from a team and 0 on the other side, when you stack 4 players from one team and then 2 players from the other team in the same lineup, when you have 3 players from one team and 3 players from another team, you can choose all the under-owned teams as your stacks, kind of forego the top ones, and I think we have a perfect FanDuel GPP strategy. What do you guys say? When you guys start showing me this weekend all your FanDuel screenshots, when Brandon comes in here with a 20K FanDuel screenshot, when Pat comes in here with a 50K FanDuel screenshot, and then Wise Guy has won 220Ks or 225Ks in 1 week, I'm gonna look back at this and be like, brother, quarantine does some pretty good stuff to the brain. Quarantine does some pretty good stuff to our DFS tragedies. I like this, man. I don't think it's too hard. I think people overthink. To the people asking specifically for FanDuel, 4 naked, 4 2, 3 3s, on their own teams, you got yourself the perfect strategy.